Good evening. Good evening. Why? That's not even the same shirt. I'm sharing the wrong one. No wonder it's not the right shirt or anything. I'm sharing the wrong one. Okay, now, thankfully, I only shared it to my stuff. So, right. One more share. I was almost done. I was almost done. Yeah, I gotta say something real quick. Probably for the rewatchers. You know, peer support work. That's an oxymoron. Peer support is not paid for. And that's where people get confused. I think it's humorous that people get sober and before you know it they're a gosh darn expert on everything. Whew. A year ago you didn't know nothing. Now suddenly you know everything. It's just this is what it comes down to. The government and business just need to get the fuck out of recovery, man. Period. That's all there is to it. All right. We're going to be reading step one out of the 12 by 12. Hey, Gary, good to see you, dude. All right. Thursday meeting went all right. One usual person showed up, but otherwise, it was just, we're like, it was raining, and I rode my bike. So there's 3 people, and I'd never met before. We had a great meeting. We did step one because there was a newcomer, so we just went to step one, got a new sponsee out of it, you know. So thank you, God, for making it worth my while. And Al-Anon kicked ass again today. I kind of left before they did, though. When there's nobody there, I just start to pack up and I come home because I'm not going to sit there at the church and by myself, especially when my wife isn't here. So cats, right? Like when I come home, it's not like dogs, you know. Like so happy to see you. No, you walk by, they're like, "Hey, what's up, shitter's full, dude." But this cat, our new cat, Jax, he greets me at the damn door. He does. He greets me at the door, and he's purring. He's like, "I love you, and I missed you." And I'm like, "You're my new favorite kitty." Something kind of cool. You know, usually cats are pretty aloof. They love, but they don't really. You know, yeah, you're welcome. Amber thinks she's funny. Actually, she is. She's got a good sense of humor. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. Isn't cool? They let me keep this Sanskrit. I don't know if that's Sanskrit, but actually we call it cursive. Actually, that's not cursive at all. If you're here, please say hello, live, rewatch. You know the drill. You know the drill. Um, I always feel kind of bad because, like, even in this meeting, if it's, I will dominate the damn meeting. And most of the discussion, well, actually, at the end, was about how to stay safe. You know, there was this young guy, and I'm his sponsor now, but you know, he was going to some places where, and he'd be the perfect fit for a body brokering situation. So I snagged him. I did that with Amber too. She wouldn't have bought into it, but I did it anyway. Sometimes I know perfect fits for like fucking everything. So, all right. So we're going to be in the 12 by 12. I don't think I'm going to read the whole thing because I just did, which is actually probably a good reason to do the whole thing. All right. So we We admitted that we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. Now, I want to start this off by first saying that Alcoholics Anonymous is the largest organization in the world. And nobody's proved me wrong. It's a complete guess. But I can't think of another organization. NFL? No, they're not an organization. Maybe. I don't know. Prove me wrong on that, though. That's okay. I'll accept defeat. But I am letting you know I didn't do any research. But I have been around long enough to know things. Okay, so how about this? We're one of the largest organizations in the world. We can go with that. Top 5. But we are the number one organization that no one ever wanted to be a part of. We're also the number one organization that has had more spin-offs of recovery and better things than anything else in the world. Just saying. JSN. JSN. Is that how you say it now? I don't know. I'm 54. I still talk 80s slang. Dude. What's up, dude? All right. Who cares to commit complete defeat practically? No one, of course, every natural instinct cries out against the idea of personal powerlessness. It's truly awful to admit that, glass in hand, we have warped our minds into such an obsession for destructive drinking that only an act of providence can remove it from us. No other bankruptcy is like this one. Where's my car, dude? Dude, where's my car? Dude, where's my car? Then what? Then put it in a bag so I can eat it. It's the only 2 lines I know from that movie. Never seen the movie. Never seen it. But a friend of mine did. Whenever he'd get drunk, he would do that. So that's the only reason I know. I just never saw it, and not for any reason. Bleeds us of all self-sufficiency and all its will to resist its demands. Once this stark fact is accepted, our bankruptcy as far as going human concerns is complete. Kind of weird verbiage. What they're saying there, yeah, they're talking about the gift of desperation. That's what they're talking about. Okay. So I'll put it into some layman's terms here. Okay. This disease leaves you with no choices. You do what it says or you're dead. There are a lot, you are being held hostage willingly. What do they call that? Munchausen syndrome, where the person that has been kidnapped starts to feel bad for the person that kidnapped them and starts to be on their side. It's the same type of thing. It's just a different way to look at it. All right. So we're defeated when we get here. Yeah, there it is. Thank you, Gary. God is gift of desperation. Well, oops. Oh, no. Hold on. I'm going to hit reply, and then I'm not going to do it. So, all right. I almost booted you. Sorry. Got to watch the buttons you push. God equals gift of desperation. Thank you, Gary. Can't post messages to some channels. Okay, great. Thanks. But upon entering AA, we soon take quite another view of this absolute humiliation. We perceive that only through utter defeat are we able to take our first step towards liberation and strength. Our admission of personal powerlessness finally turns out to be the firm bedrock upon which happy and purposeful lives may be built. We're in the 3rd paragraph of step 1, and we're talking about happy and purposeful lives, my friends. Okay, it is the first paradox of the program. Utter defeat equals freedom. I felt once I had accepted my alcoholism and I came to the conclusion that all my thoughts were incorrect, it was a relief. It was a relief to know I was wrong. Because it meant if I was wrong, that there was a right way. Okay. We know that little can come to any alcoholic that is devastating weakness and all its consequences. Till he so humbles himself, his sobriety, if any, will be precarious. Of real happiness, you will find none at all. Okay. Got to be careful of that two-stepping because it can bring you the dopamine that you need, and then your brain will trick you into think you're doing, oh, I don't need the other steps. I'm doing great on this 12th one. Right. Proved beyond a doubt of immense experience. This is one of the facts of AA life. Principle that we shall find no enduring strength until at first we complete defeat is the main taproot from which our whole society is sprung and flowered. Every person in the program goes through this. Okay. And it is a gift. It doesn't fucking feel like a gift. Not at the time, it doesn't. My gifts never really feel like a gift at the time until I take a look at them for what they are. Right. No, this isn't a zit, just so you know. Looks like one right now. It's because I poked at it last week. All right. Being a little too honest here. When first challenged to admit defeat, most of us revolted. We had approached AA expecting to be taught self-confidence. Then we've been told so far as alcohol is concerned, self-confidence is no good whatsoever. In fact, it was a total liability. In fact, because what happens with that is because, my self-confidence was no good whatsoever because it's my ego talking. Hi, Kathleen. Good to see you. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. I've been watching you. You're doing well. Posting old pictures and stuff. Our sponsors declared that we were victims. Now, you don't get to play the victim, but you are a victim, in a sense, if you want to look at it that way. They're just describing it another way so that you'll understand it. That's all they're doing, right? That's all they're doing. Okay? That we were victims. Born with it. We were born with this disease. I absolutely believe that. There's too much coincidence. There's too much matching. Okay? I don't need alcohol in me for Mr. Hyde to come out. Mr. Hyde was very much present before my alcoholism. Yeah. Mr. Hyde was around way before I started drinking. So you didn't really have a chance. You had no chance. I was born a lying, conniving son of a gun. I was. I didn't know how, to be honest. It was not instilled in me. I was not born with it. And since my parents were not honest, they couldn't teach me. Okay, it wasn't until my mom sobered up that she could actually start teaching me what honesty was. Our sponsor pointed out our increasing sensitivity to alcohol, an allergy they called it. The tyrant alcohol wielded a double-edged sword over us. First, we were smitten by an insane urge that condemned us to go on drinking, and then by an allergy to the body that ensured we would ultimately destroy ourselves in the process. Few indeed were those who, so assailed, had ever won through single-handed combat. It was a statistical fact that alcoholics almost never recovered on their own resources, and this has been true apparently ever since man had first crushed grapes. Okay, on their own resources, and I've watched this a lot. It's the number one thing. Well, I know you can't do it, but you're not me. You haven't been through what I've been through. Well, you haven't let me talk to you yet, so you don't know that yet. That's contemporary investigation. Well, you know what? You can just fuck off. There we go. See, conversation over. No. So when we say like, oh, you're going to kill yourself, good. Good. Hand me a beer. Don't fucking challenge that. That to us, well, to me, that was a fucking challenge. See, when my parents called me an alcoholic at 14, I didn't take it as anything else but a challenge. I was like, I'll fucking show you alcoholism. And I did. I went off the fucking chain, man. Insanity. Insane in the membrane. Insane in the brain. Better not do too much singing, or somebody will come on and say, that's my video. Seriously, happens to me all the time. In AA, you have no, there's so much bullshit behind the scenes. I just start making a behind the scenes blooper reel. I don't have any bloopers. It's all one long blooper, man. All right. In AA's pioneering time, none but the most desperate cases could swallow and digest this unpalatable truth. Even these last gaspers often had difficulty in realizing how hopeless they actually were. But a few did, and when these laid hold of the AA principles with all the fervor with which the drowning sees life preservers, they almost invariably got well. That is why the first edition of the book, Alcoholics Anonymous, published when our membership was small, dealt with low bottom cases only. Many desperate alcoholics tried AA but did not succeed because they could not make the admission of hopelessness. 90% of the people in the program would not have been allowed in. No, they would have just kicked you out. Okay? This was a secret society back then. The way that you got into a meeting was sponsorship. You had to be sponsored. Sponsorship. So, okay, well, lucky coincidences. Lucky coincidences, right? Well, we know what we're going to do here, so I'll just get into it. It's tremendous satisfaction to record that in the following years has changed. Yeah. So when the traditions first came out, Tradition 3 was the only requirement for membership is an honest desire to stop drinking. And they came along and said, Bill, the fuck are you doing? I don't know how it actually went, but, they're like, no, I wouldn't have been able to make it. I wouldn't have qualified. I did not have an honest desire to stop drinking when I got here. I came here for my wife and kids. And then you all know that story. So, okay, I'm still here. So obviously I'm doing recovery for myself. Okay. Alcoholics who still had their health, their families, their jobs, and even 2 cars in the garage began to recognize their alcoholism. As this trend grew, they were joined by young people who were scarcely more than potential alcoholics. They were spared that last 10, 15 years of literal hell the rest of us had gone through. Since step 1 requires admission that our lives have become unmanageable, how could people such as these take this step? So the first time I read that, I was 18. And when I read the last 10, 15 years of literal hell, it kind of pissed me off. What do you mean I didn't? You know what? They were right. I went back out, and you know what happened? That became a challenge. See, when I say that a head full of AA and a belly full of booze is worse, that's what I'm talking about. It's a different hell. Oh, well, since I didn't go through the last 10, 15 years, 10 or 15, you know how long I went out? 15 years. It was obviously necessary to raise the bottom the rest of us hit to the point where we hit them. There we are. We meet the others where they're at. If we don't do it, if you do it another way, it ain't, then just, you know what? Then just don't bother, please. Just don't. You know. By going back in our own drinking careers, we could show that years before we realized it, we were out of control, that our drinking, even then, was no mere habit, that it was indeed the beginning of a fatal progression. To the doubters, we could say, perhaps you're not an alcoholic after all. Why don't you try some more controlled drinking? Bearing in mind, meanwhile, what we have told you about alcoholism. All right. Yeah, see, Kathleen. So it's not a challenge. If you haven't done it, you don't need to. You don't. But that's what happens if you not slip, but relapse and you have a head full of AA. Then they become challenges. You will go out and intentionally look for the fucking hideous four horsemen and you'll find them pretty quick. They've just been waiting for you. They've been grooming your horse. This attitude brought immediate practical results. I don't do this anymore. I will not tell somebody to go back out. It's too dangerous anymore. It's too dangerous. I will not ever, ever, ever give that advice. I hear what they're saying and I don't disagree, but I'm not going to hand it out. There's something in my morals that says don't do that. Times have changed a little bit. So but this I do agree with. It was then discovered that when one alcoholic had planted in the mind of another the true nature of his malady, that person could never be the same again. Now, this was the answer that they had found after thousands and thousands and thousands. I can keep going. Thousands and thousands of years of alcoholism. This is the answer they came up with. Alcoholism hasn't morphed into anything else in the last 87 years. So that means all these newfangled ways are null and void. We tried them for thousands of years. It was then discovered that when one alcoholic had planted in the mind of another the true nature of his malady, that person could never be the same again. I will ruin your fucking drinking career. I'm going to plant it. Nicely, not how I'm doing it now. Okay. Actually, I'm not being unnice, but I mean, we got to drive this home, man. Okay. Rule 62. Don't take yourself so damn seriously. Take the program fucking seriously. Following every spree, he would say to himself, maybe those AAs were right. After a few such experiences, often years before the onset of extreme difficulties, he would return to us, convinced he had hit bottom as truly as any of us. John Barleycorn himself had become our best advocate. John Barleycorn being alcohol. I know you knew, but a lot of people don't. So, okay. Why all this insistence that AA must hit bottom first? The answer is that few people will sincerely try to practice the AA principles unless they have hit bottom. Okay. Yeah. For us, for alcoholics, right? For practicing AA's remaining 11 steps means the adoptions and attitudes and actions that almost no alcoholic who is still drinking can dream of taking. We can't. No way. Uh-uh. I won't understand it. I won't get it. Who wishes to be rigorously honest and tolerant? Who wants to confess his faults to another human or faults to another, make restitution for harm done? Who cares anything about a higher power, let alone meditation and prayer? Who wants to sacrifice time and energy and try to carry the AA message to the next sufferer? No, the average alcoholic, self-centered in the stream, doesn't care for this prospect unless he has to do these things in order to stay alive himself. I'm not going to go too much into that part, but I do know that death doesn't scare a lot of alcoholics. So that line, it didn't apply to me. And I know a lot of people it didn't apply to, but that's okay, right? Fake it till you make it. It's all right. It's all right. I had to learn first to let people love me. That was the first thing I had to learn. And I had to be okay with it. It's very uncomfortable, but I did it. I just faked it till I made it, slapped on my frickin' smile, and did what I was supposed to do. Showed up to meeting, share my experience, strength, and hope. Go to bed, brush your teeth, take your meds, take a shower, eat 3 meals. See, my day was already starting to fill up, right? Under the lash of alcoholism, we were driven to AA. And there we discover the fatal nature of our situation. Then and only then do we become as open minded to conviction as willing to listen as the dying can be. We stand ready to do anything which will lift the merciless obsession from us. Yay! Yay, step one. Oh, I was going to open a package. For some reason, people like to film themselves. It's just a toilet paper holder. But this toilet paper has a phone holder. There's a phone holder. I don't get any reception in my bathroom, so it doesn't matter. All right. I love you. Thanks for being here. I'm glad I got to end the day on a good note. So thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. Gary, good to see you. Kathleen, good to see you. I'm glad to see you're doing well. Amber, as always, I love you all. Peace out and have a day.